Welcome. You've reached Sleepless Dark Theories, where silence holds secrets and sleep is stirred by the strange. Tonight, we drift quietly into the heart of the Atlantic, to a place whispered about in hushed tones, feared by pilots, avoided by sailors, and surrounded by questions that never quite find answers. The Bermuda Triangle, where planes disappear without a trace, where ships lose their way, and where time itself seems to bend. Is it a natural anomaly or a hidden truth buried beneath the waves? Let your thoughts settle, let your eyes grow heavy, and allow your curiosity to carry you just a little deeper. And while you're here, gently tap like and softly press subscribe, so the next time the lights go low, you're not alone in the dark. We'll be waiting. Now close your eyes and let's begin. Picture this. It's December 5th, 1945. 5 Avenger bombers lift off from a Florida airfield, carrying 14 young trainees and their instructor on a routine mission. The afternoon is clear, but by 5:45 p.m, their last radio call crackles with confusion. Compass needles spin out of control, voices grow anxious, and then silence. The rescue plane sent after them also vanishes, leaving no trace of wreckage or survivors. Why did these experienced airmen lose their way so suddenly? What happened in those final minutes over the waters of the Bermuda Triangle? As we look closer, we find that these mysteries are not new. A region of mystery, the origins of the Bermuda Triangle. Long before the Bermuda Triangle became a household name, this stretch of ocean was already building its reputation as a region where the ordinary rules of navigation seemed to falter. Its earliest mysteries can be traced back to a single, well-documented voyage, Christopher Columbus's crossing of the Atlantic in 1492. During that journey, Columbus and his crew entered the waters now associated with the Triangle and recorded a series of events that would echo through centuries of maritime lore. On the night of September 13th, 1492, Columbus wrote of seeing a strange light on the horizon. He described it as a small flickering glow, almost like a candle, that appeared to rise and lift, then vanish. Columbus even believed it hinted at nearby landfall, yet when his compass spun off, no charted shore lay ahead. Just days later, the crew faced another unsettling anomaly. On September the 17th, Columbus noted that the compass needle, which should have pointed north, drifted northwest by half a point. The following day, the drift increased, with the needle veering even further from true north. For sailors who depended on these readings to survive, this unpredictable behavior was more than a technical glitch. It was a cause for real concern. Today, we know that magnetic declination, the difference between magnetic north and true north, can vary in certain parts of the world. The region now called the Bermuda Triangle happens to be one of those places where the Earth's magnetic field shifts just enough to confuse even the most attentive navigator. But in 1492, the science behind these compass swings was unknown. To Columbus's men, the drifting needle felt like a warning. Their instruments, already primitive, seemed to betray them at the worst possible moment. The impact of these events went beyond technical confusion. Columbus's journal entries, show a captain determined to maintain order, but his crew grew uneasy. The combination of a mysterious light and unreliable navigation planted seeds of doubt and fear. For sailors in the 15th century, the world was still a place of vast unknowns. When the tools they trusted failed, and when strange sights appeared on the open sea, explanations veered quickly toward the supernatural. The ocean itself became a character in their journey, unpredictable, sometimes hostile, and always capable of upending expectations. Columbus's account stands as the first recorded instance of the Bermuda Triangle's peculiar reputation. These weren't just isolated technical problems. Together, they shaped the way future generations would view the region. The idea that something about this part of the Atlantic defied understanding took root early, reinforced by the written word and the oral traditions of sailors who followed. Even though Columbus himself may have thought the compass drift was a minor inconvenience or a quirk of the equipment, the story grew in the telling. The light on the horizon became a symbol. The compass's erratic swing became a warning sign. The legend began to build. As the centuries passed, other explorers and mariners added their own stories to the mix. Reports from the 1800s, preserved in ship logs and sailors' journals, described similar moments of confusion and fear. Ships entered the Triangle's waters and sometimes failed to return. Survivors spoke of sudden, inexplicable changes in the sea's behavior, calm waters turning rough without warning, or the sensation that time itself had shifted. In many cases, the only evidence left behind was a brief note in a logbook or a fragment of a story passed from one crew to another. The tools of navigation improved over time, but the sense of uncertainty lingered. Compasses became more reliable, maps more accurate, and yet the stories of strange happenings continued. The Bermuda Triangle's reputation was built slowly, piece by piece, as each new incident seemed to echo the fears first recorded by Columbus. The region's identity as a place where the normal rules don't always apply took hold, not just in the minds of sailors, but in the wider culture as well. Today we know the Triangle sits on shifting magnetic fields and a powerful Gulf Stream, but to sailors of the 1500s, these odd readings felt supernatural. The idea that the sea could play tricks on even the most experienced navigator made the region a source of endless speculation. Each unexplained event added another layer to the mystery, and the legend grew with every retelling. Columbus's voyage set the stage, but it was only the beginning. Over the centuries, the Bermuda Triangle would become the backdrop for some of the most puzzling disappearances and unsolved cases in maritime history. Small ships and large vessels alike would vanish without a trace. Sometimes, the only clues were the same ones Columbus left behind: a light on the horizon, a compass that refused to behave, a crew unsettled by things they couldn't explain. As stories accumulated, the Triangle's reputation expanded. It became a symbol of the unknown, a place where the boundaries of science and folklore blurred. The early accounts, grounded in the real anxieties of sailors faced with the limits of their technology, continued to resonate. Even as explanations for some phenomena emerged, the sense of something strange remained. It's this long history, rooted in the very first European crossings, that gives the Bermuda Triangle its unique place in our imagination. The events Columbus described may have natural explanations, but the way they affected his crew and the way they have been remembered speaks to a deeper fascination with places that resist easy answers. The Triangle's story is not just about the facts, it's about the feeling that some parts of the world remain just out of reach, no matter how much we learn. As we move forward in time, the mysteries only grow more complex. The Triangle's reputation isn't built solely on ancient stories or old fears. In the 20th century, ships far larger than Columbus's little caravels would set out across these waters, sometimes never to be seen again. One of the most enduring of these cases involves a vessel so massive, its disappearance still baffles experts and haunts the history books. The USS Cyclops, a ship swallowed by the Triangle. In March 1918, the USS Cyclops began its journey north from Barbados to Maryland, carrying 309 people and a cargo of 11,000 tons of manganese ore. The ship, nearly 542 feet long and among the largest in the Navy, had already played a crucial role as a supply vessel during World War I. On board, sailors kept watch, passengers passed the time, and the crew worked under the direction of Captain George W. Worley. Despite the pressures of war and the long route home, there was little reason to expect anything but a routine passage. But somewhere in the open Atlantic, the Cyclops vanished. No distress signal, no wreckage, no survivors. The Navy called it one of the most baffling mysteries in its annals. The ship was within range of other vessels and coastal stations, but no one heard from it again. The scale of the disappearance, an entire ship and everyone aboard, gone without a trace, stunned officials and families alike. Even today, the loss remains the single largest non-combat loss of life in US Navy history. The facts of the case only deepen its strangeness. The Cyclops was not a small or fragile vessel. Its size alone should have made it impossible to lose, even in the unpredictable Atlantic. Yet after it left Barbados, all contact ended. The Navy scoured the ship's expected route and questioned other vessels in the area, but no one reported seeing the Cyclops after it cleared port. The lack of any floating debris, oil slicks or bodies was as troubling as the silence itself. Investigators quickly focused on two possible causes. First, the cargo. 11,000 tons of manganese ore loaded deep in the ship's hold. Manganese is heavy, and there were concerns that the Cyclops might have been overloaded or that the cargo was improperly secured. Some crew members had already voiced worries about the ship's condition before departure, and there were rumours that the vessel was not seaworthy. An overloaded ship in rough waters could easily become unstable, especially if the cargo shifted suddenly. Investigators quickly focused on two possible causes. First, the cargo. 11,000 tons of manganese ore loaded deep in the ship's hold. Manganese is heavy, and there were concerns that the Cyclops might have been overloaded or that the cargo was improperly secured. Some crew members had already voiced worries about the ship's condition before departure, and there were rumours that the vessel was not seaworthy. An overloaded ship in rough waters could easily become unstable, especially if the cargo shifted suddenly. Yet even these explanations have their limits. Ships lost to storms or instability often leave behind some trace, a lifeboat, a piece of hull, or cargo washing ashore. But with the Cyclops, there was nothing. The waters of the Bermuda Triangle are deep, with some areas plunging nearly 30,000 feet. If the ship went down in one of these underwater canyons, it might still rest there, hidden by darkness, pressure, and layers of sediment. The disappearance also drew attention to patterns in the region. In 1941, the Cyclops' sister ship, the USS Proteus, vanished along a similar route, also without a trace. Another sister ship, the USS Nereus, disappeared in the same waters that year. All three ships shared a similar design and purpose, and all were lost in the same region, with no distress calls and no debris ever found. These repeating incidents raised questions about whether some flaw in ship construction, or perhaps the unique hazards of the triangle, played a role. Captain George W. Worley's leadership added another layer to the mystery. Reports from the crew described him as a difficult and unpopular figure, with some claiming he was unpredictable or even unstable. Tensions ran high on board, and rumours swirled about the ship's condition and the decisions being made. Some have speculated that internal conflict, sabotage, or even mutiny could have played a part. But there is no evidence to suggest that anything unusual happened among the crew before the ship vanished. The only certainty is that whatever occurred, it happened quickly and left no time for a call for help. The context of wartime added confusion but little clarity. Some early theories pointed to the threat of German U-boats, but naval records after the war found no evidence of enemy submarines or mines in the area. The Navy's official investigation closed with more questions than answers, acknowledging that the fate of the Cyclops was simply unknown. For the families of the 309 people on board, the loss was devastating. Without wreckage or remains, there was no closure, only the lingering hope that some explanation might eventually surface. The absence of answers has turned the Cyclops into a symbol of the Bermuda Triangle's mysteries. It stands out not just for the scale of the loss, but for the complete lack of evidence. Over a century has passed, and the ocean has kept its secrets. Modern technology has allowed deep-sea searches in the Triangle's waters, using sonar and submersibles to scan the ocean floor. Yet despite these efforts, not a single piece of the 542-foot vessel has surfaced. The depths where the Cyclops might lie are vast, cold, and silent. Some suggest the ship is buried under layers of sediment or caught in an underwater canyon. Others wonder if the Gulf Stream carried any remains far from the original route, scattering evidence beyond the reach of search teams. Patterns in these disappearances have fueled speculation about the region itself. The Bermuda Triangle is known for sudden storms, shifting currents, and magnetic anomalies that can confuse navigational instruments. But none of these factors alone explain how such a large ship could vanish so completely, or why similar ships disappeared in the same waters with no trace. The possibility that the Triangle hides more than we understand remains a quiet undercurrent in every search. The story of the Cyclops is not only about a single ship lost at sea, it is about the limits of what we can know, even with careful investigation and modern technology. The questions left behind about cargo, weather, leadership, and the ocean's hidden dangers still have no clear answers. The case stands as a reminder that some mysteries endure, resisting explanation despite our best efforts. Yet despite over a century of deep-sea searches, not a single piece of the 542-foot vessel has surfaced. Could the triangle's hidden depths be hiding more than we know? The sea's mysteries are well known, but sometimes the sky above the triangle can be just as unforgiving. Flight 19, the sky's greatest mystery. Flight 19 stands as one of the most unsettling stories to come out of the Bermuda Triangle. On December 5, 1945, 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers lifted off from the Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a routine training exercise. The group, known as Flight 19, was scheduled to fly a triangular route, east for bombing practice near the Bahamas, then north, and finally back west to return to base. 14 airmen and their instructor, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, flew in formation over familiar waters. The mission should have been straightforward. But as the planes moved deeper into the triangle, something went wrong. In the early afternoon, Taylor radioed the control tower. "Both compasses are out. I'm sure I'm over the Keys." He was convinced they were flying over the Florida Keys, but in reality, they had drifted far off course into the Bahamas. The confusion spread quickly. It wasn't just Taylor's instruments failing. Compass issues affected the whole group. The squadron, trained to rely on their leader, now found themselves lost together, their formation veering hundreds of miles from the intended path. The control tower tried to help. They advised Taylor to fly north, hoping this would bring the group back toward Florida. But Taylor hesitated, doubting his own bearings and overriding suggestions from his trainees. The situation grew more tense as the pilots struggled to agree on a direction. Taylor's experience, usually a source of confidence, now seemed to deepen the uncertainty. His insistence on being over the Keys, when all evidence pointed elsewhere, only added to the confusion. As the afternoon wore on, the weather began to change. Clouds thickened, winds picked up, and visibility dropped. The plane's fuel reserves were running low. The control tower's instructions became more urgent, but communication was breaking down. Taylor's voice, once calm, now sounded anxious and uncertain. The squadron's position was unclear, and the window for a safe return was closing. As night fell and storms rolled in, their last garbled transmissions warned, "We may have to ditch any minute." Another message followed. "Have to land on water unless landfall." Then silence. The 5 Avenger bombers and all 14 men disappeared without a trace. No distress signal reached the base. No wreckage was found. The ocean gave up nothing. As night fell and storms rolled in, their last garbled transmissions warned, "We may have to ditch any minute." Another message followed. "Have to land on water unless landfall." Then silence. The 5 Avenger bombers and all 14 men disappeared without a trace. No distress signal reached the base. No wreckage was found. The ocean gave up nothing. Over the following days, hundreds of searchers covered more than 200,000 square miles of ocean. Planes and ships combed the area where Flight 19 last reported its position. The search was thorough and persistent. Yet nothing, no debris, no life rafts, no oil slicks came to the surface. The lack of physical evidence left investigators frustrated and families without answers. The official Navy report closed with the words, "Reasons unknown." The disappearance of Flight 19 became a defining moment for the Bermuda Triangle's reputation. Theories multiplied. Some blamed navigational error, pointing to Taylor's confusion and his insistence that he was over the keys. Others noted the simultaneous failure of multiple compasses, something rare even in challenging conditions. The possibility that all 5 planes could become lost together, despite training and experience, was difficult to accept. Environmental explanations surfaced. The Bermuda Triangle is known for unpredictable weather and sudden storms. Downdrafts or squalls could have forced the planes low over the water, making a safe landing impossible. The Gulf Stream's strong currents might have swept away any wreckage, explaining why nothing was ever found. But these ideas don't fully account for the sudden onset of confusion, the failure of navigational instruments in several aircraft, or the complete absence of debris. There are also theories that reach beyond the ordinary. Over the years, people have speculated about magnetic anomalies unique to the triangle, strange atmospheric conditions, or even phenomena that science cannot yet explain. These ideas often fill the gaps left by official investigations. The fact remains, 5 planes, flying together, vanished without a trace, and a rescue plane searching for them met the same fate. Flight 19's story fueled the public's fascination with the Bermuda Triangle. The event was widely reported, and its details, compass failures, garbled radio messages, and the total lack of evidence became central to the Triangle's legend. The case continues to inspire books, documentaries, and debates. Each retelling raises the same question: how could so many trained aviators flying in formation disappear so completely? If navigational error and weather can't fully explain 5 planes and a rescue craft vanishing without a trace, what can? The search for answers has led to many theories, but none that close the case for good. The mystery of Flight 19 remains, casting a long shadow over the region and challenging our understanding of what is possible. For all the speculation, one fact is clear. The Bermuda Triangle's reputation is built on real events and real losses. The disappearance of Flight 19 is not just a story. It is a reminder of how quickly routine can become extraordinary, and how little we sometimes know about the forces at work in the world around us. The question lingers: could the Triangle's infamous reputation be a result of natural phenomena, or is there something more at play? Natural forces or something more? Looking closely at the region itself, we find a place shaped by powerful and often unpredictable natural forces. The Bermuda Triangle sits directly on a hurricane highway, where warm Atlantic waters fuel some of the world's most intense storms. Hurricanes and tropical storms sweep through this corridor every year, bringing violent winds and towering waves. The Gulf Stream, a fast-moving ocean current, runs through the heart of the triangle. If a ship or plane goes down, this current can scatter wreckage and survivors far from the original site, making recovery efforts much more difficult. Waterspouts, columns of swirling air and water that form over the sea, are also common here, and they can pose real dangers to anything in their path. These elements create a hazardous environment for ships and planes, Severe weather and strong currents alone can explain why some vessels and aircraft are never found. When storms hit, even modern navigation and communication technology can be overwhelmed. The ocean is vast, and searchers are often left with little more than a last known position before everything disappears into the expanse. But not every disappearance fits this pattern. Some of the most puzzling cases in the Bermuda Triangle happened under clear skies, with no sign of storms or rough seas. Weather records for incidents like Flight 19 and the USS Cyclops show that conditions were calm at the time they vanished. These cases challenge the idea that natural forces alone are responsible. Rogue waves are another natural hazard sometimes cited in explanations. These massive waves, which can reach heights of 100 feet or more, appear suddenly and can overwhelm even large ships. In the open ocean, a rogue wave could capsize a vessel in seconds, leaving little or no time for a distress call. The force of such a wave could break a ship apart or drag it under, with debris quickly scattered by currents. While rogue waves are rare, they do occur, and their destructive power is well documented. Still, the lack of any floating wreckage or survivors in so many triangle disappearances raises questions. Even the largest wave leaves some trace behind, yet in these cases, the sea remains silent. The star aerial serves as a striking example of how some disappearances defy natural explanation. On January the 17th, 1949, this commercial airliner took off from Bermuda, bound for Jamaica. The weather was clear, the aircraft was in good condition, and the crew was experienced. Shortly after the last routine radio transmission, all contact was lost. There was no distress call, no evidence of mechanical failure, and no sign of trouble. Despite an extensive search, no wreckage or clues were ever found. The star aerial simply vanished while flying through perfect conditions. Incidents like this highlight the limitations of natural explanations. Hurricanes, rogue waves, and strong currents can account for some losses, but not for the sudden and total disappearance of aircraft on clear days. Nor do they explain why, in certain cases, there is a complete absence of debris, oil slicks, or any sign of what happened. Even when accounting for the region's high traffic and dangerous environment, the details of these cases stand out. Some researchers have looked at the possibility of magnetic anomalies. The Earth's magnetic field is not uniform, and certain areas, including parts of the Bermuda Triangle, do show irregular readings. Pilots and sailors have reported sudden shifts in compass direction, which could cause navigational errors and send them off course. However, these anomalies are not unique to the triangle, and similar variations exist in other regions without the same reputation for mystery. While magnetic effects might explain some confusion, they don't account for the total disappearance of ships and planes. The Gulf Stream's power is a significant factor. If a vessel is lost, the current can carry debris for hundreds or even thousands of miles. This helps explain why some wreckage is never found, especially in a heavily traveled area where searchers have only a rough idea of where to look. Yet, the Gulf Stream alone cannot erase all evidence. In most maritime disasters, some trace eventually surfaces, life jackets, cargo, or pieces of hull. The triangle's most famous cases often leave nothing at all. Statistical studies add another layer to the story. Experts have found that the rate of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle is not significantly higher than in other busy ocean regions. Given the large number of ships and planes passing through, the number of accidents is about what would be expected. The difference is in the stories themselves, the circumstances, the lack of evidence, and the sense that something unusual is at work. The Star Ariel's disappearance, along with others like it, keeps the debate alive. When a plane vanishes without warning on a clear day, it is hard to accept that weather or waves are always to blame. The absence of distress, calls or debris in these cases suggests that something else may be happening, something that current science cannot fully explain. Some suggest that natural forces in the triangle may interact in ways we do not yet understand. The combination of storms, currents, magnetic variations, and atmospheric conditions could occasionally align to create rare and unpredictable hazards. These might be responsible for the most mysterious events, but without direct evidence, this remains speculation. The ocean floor beneath the Bermuda Triangle is another source of uncertainty. Much of it remains unmapped and unexplored, with deep trenches and underwater features that could hide wreckage for decades. Until these areas are thoroughly surveyed, some mysteries may remain out of reach. Despite advances in technology and decades of investigation, the Bermuda Triangle continues to resist simple answers. Natural forces explain much, but not all. Some events fit no known pattern, and the lack of evidence keeps the door open for other possibilities. The region's reputation endures because of these unanswered questions. Each unresolved case, each missing ship or plane, adds to the sense that there is more happening here than we can see. The facts point to a dangerous stretch of ocean shaped by storms and currents, but the stories hint at something deeper, something that may challenge our understanding of how the world works. As we look at the record of lost vessels and vanished crews, the possibility remains that what happens in the Bermuda Triangle is not just a matter of nature. The limits of our knowledge leave room for other ideas. Ideas that reach beyond the usual explanations and into the unknown. Some theories suggest that the triangle may be the site of unusual energy or forces that disrupt navigation and communication. These ideas propose that the region is more than just a hazardous part of the ocean, that it might be a place where the ordinary rules of time and space break down. A vortex of the unknown, the manipulated energy theory. Among the many theories that try to explain the Bermuda Triangle's mysteries, the manipulated energy theory stands out for its focus on the region's unusual magnetic and electrical phenomena. This idea suggests that the triangle is not just dangerous because of storms or currents, but because it sits atop a rare zone where energy fields behave in ways that disrupt navigation and communication. Instead of random accidents, the disappearances and strange events could be the result of natural forces that are more intense or more concentrated here than almost anywhere else. At the heart of this theory are the documented magnetic anomalies that set the Bermuda Triangle apart. In certain parts of the triangle, true north and magnetic north align, a rare event known as agonic alignment. When this happens, compasses can point in the wrong direction, leading even experienced navigators off course. This alignment is not permanent, but it has been recorded in the region and is believed to be one of the reasons why so many ships and planes have reported compass failures. Christopher Columbus's logs from his 1492 voyage are among the earliest written accounts of these strange compass readings. He described his compass needle drifting unexpectedly, confusing both himself and his crew. What's striking is that centuries later, pilots and sailors continue to report similar problems in the same area. These magnetic quirks don't just affect compasses. Pilots and mariners have described situations where all of their instruments suddenly become unreliable. In some cases, entire electrical systems have failed, leaving crews without radio contact or navigational guidance. These failures are sometimes reported during storms, but they can also happen in clear weather, making them difficult to predict or explain. Some researchers believe that the triangle's magnetic field can be temporarily intensified by electrical storms, especially when lightning strikes the ocean's surface. This could create brief but powerful surges of electromagnetic energy, enough to knock out sensitive equipment and confuse even modern technology. One of the most compelling stories supporting the manipulated energy theory comes from pilot Bruce Gernon in the 1970s. Gernon was flying his small plane from the Bahamas to Florida when he encountered what he described as an electronic fog. As he entered this strange grey cloud, his instruments began to malfunction. The compass spun uselessly, the altimeter gave impossible readings, and the radios went silent. For what felt like only a few minutes, Gernon was surrounded by thick haze and an eerie sense of disorientation. When he finally emerged, he realized that 40 minutes had vanished from his flight time. He had traveled a distance that should have taken much longer, as if he had skipped through time. Gernon's account is just one of several in which pilots and sailors report missing time, sudden jumps in location, or memories of events that don't add up. Stories like Gernon's are rare, but they echo other reports from the triangle. Some describe seeing walls of light or strange flashes on the horizon, especially during storms. These lights could be explained by natural phenomena such as ball lightning, a rare and poorly understood form of electrical discharge that can appear as glowing orbs. Ball lightning is sometimes seen during thunderstorms and can last longer than regular lightning, moving horizontally across the sky or skimming the surface of the ocean. The Bermuda Triangle's frequent storms and high humidity might make it more likely for ball lightning to appear here, adding a visual element to the region's reputation for strangeness. The manipulated energy theory also considers the possibility of natural energy vortices, areas where electromagnetic forces gather and twist, creating a kind of invisible funnel. These vortices could, in theory, disrupt not only navigation, but also a traveller's perception of time and space. While there's no direct scientific evidence for such vortices in the triangle, the consistent reports of instrument failures and unexplained time loss keep the idea alive. Some researchers point to the ocean floor's unique geology, with deep trenches and submerged ridges, as a possible source of these concentrated energies. The movement of water over these features could generate electrical currents, further disturbing the magnetic field above. Even the unexplained lights seen by Columbus and later sailors might fit this theory. If the triangle is a hotspot for magnetic and electrical disturbances, then strange lights, sudden radio silence, and instrument failures could all be symptoms of the same underlying cause. Ball lightning, ion storms, and aurora-like effects could be more common here than elsewhere, especially during periods of intense weather. These events are rare enough to be memorable, but frequent enough to become part of the region's lore. Scientific research into the Earth's magnetic field lends some support to these ideas. The planet's magnetic field is not uniform. It fluctuates and shifts over time, influenced by the movement of molten iron in the core and by local geological features. In some places, these fluctuations are strong enough to cause compass needles to deviate from true north. The Bermuda Triangle is one of the few regions where this effect is strong and persistent enough to be noticed by navigators throughout history. While modern GPS technology has reduced reliance on magnetic compasses, the triangle's reputation for instrument failure remains. Electrical storms may play a role as well. When lightning strikes the ocean, it can send powerful electrical currents through the water and the air above. These currents can interfere with radios, compasses, and even the wiring of ships and planes. Some researchers suggest that a combination of magnetic anomalies and electrical storms could create temporary pockets of chaos, places where navigation becomes impossible and communication breaks down. In the confusion, it's easy for a ship or plane to become lost, especially if the crew is already disoriented by strange lights or instrument failures. Despite the dramatic nature of these stories, there's no solid evidence that the Bermuda Triangle is home to anything beyond natural, if unusual, phenomena. The manipulated energy theory remains speculative, based on patterns in eyewitness accounts and the region's known magnetic quirks. Still, the consistency of the reports, compasses spinning, radios failing, time seeming to slip, suggests that something is happening here that deserves attention. Whether it's a unique combination of magnetic and electrical forces, or simply the result of rare but natural events, the triangle's mysteries continue to resist easy answers. If magnetic quirks can scramble compasses, could they also warp time, transforming the triangle into a true vortex of the unknown? With so many questions left unanswered, some wonder if the region's secrets are being kept for reasons beyond science. The shadow of the military, secret projects in the triangle, the presence of the US military. The US military in the Bermuda Triangle adds another layer to the region's reputation for secrecy and intrigue. One facility, in particular, stands out: the Atlantic Undersea Test and Evaluation Center, or OTEC. Located in the Bahamas within the Triangle's boundaries, UTEC is a deep water base dedicated to testing submarines, sonar systems, and naval technology. Its position in the tongue of the ocean, a long, deep trench with steep sides, offers ideal conditions for underwater testing. The unique acoustics of this area allow sound waves to travel with minimal interference, making it perfect for tracking submarines and running sonar experiments. The facility's remote location and the depth of the surrounding waters mean that what happens there is seldom observed by outsiders. OTEC's strategic placement has led many to wonder about the true scope of its operations. Officially, the Navy describes UTEC as a hub for developing and evaluating underwater systems. Submarines, unmanned vehicles, and torpedoes are tested here, and the facility's isolation ensures that sensitive work remains secure. However, it is this very secrecy that has given rise to speculation. Some theorists argue that the Navy could be conducting experiments that go beyond routine military technology. The facility's advanced sonar systems, for example, generate powerful low-frequency sounds that can travel great distances underwater. Locals sometimes report feeling deep vibrations in the ocean or hearing low, persistent hums, which they attribute to the facility's activities. While these sounds are most likely the result of sonar tests, they have become part of the local lore, adding to the sense that something unusual is happening beneath the surface. The classified nature of OTEC's work means that much of what happens there is not made public. This lack of transparency has fueled theories about secret projects and unexplained phenomena. Some suggest that the Navy might be exploring new forms of underwater propulsion, energy generation, or even the effects of magnetic fields on navigation. The Bermuda Triangle's long history of compass failures and strange navigational events provides fertile ground for such ideas. While there is no direct evidence linking UTEC's research to the disappearances in the Triangle, the overlap in location and the facility's focus on underwater acoustics and navigation keep these theories alive. Military secrecy is a powerful driver of speculation. The Navy rarely comments on the details of its research at AUTEC, citing national security. This silence leaves room for questions. If experiments at the facility unintentionally create strong electromagnetic fields or strange underwater conditions, could these be connected to the region's reputation for missing ships and planes? Some believe that the advanced sonar and communication systems tested at AUTEC might interfere with civilian navigation equipment, especially in an area already known for magnetic anomalies. Others point to the facility's proximity to unexplained disappearances, wondering if there is more to these events than meets the eye. Theories about UTEC often reflect a broader pattern in the Triangle's history. Throughout the 20th century, the region was a focus for military research, especially during the World War II and the Cold War. Advances in sonar, radar, and underwater weapons all took place in these waters. During this period, the US Navy invested heavily in understanding the ocean's depths, the movement of currents, and the effects of sound and magnetism on navigation. Some theorists argue that the overlap between military research and unexplained disappearances is more than coincidence. They suggest that sensitive tests, if they went wrong, could have contributed to some of the Triangle's most famous mysteries. Reports from residents in the Bahamas sometimes mention unusual activity near AUTEC's boundaries. Large, unmarked ships appear and disappear without explanation. Aircraft fly low over the water, then vanish from sight. Some locals describe hearing a distant, rhythmic thrum in the water, a sound they believe comes from the facility's powerful sonar systems. These observations are anecdotal, but their persistence over the years has helped keep speculation alive. The idea that military tests could impact the environment and perhaps even navigation is not far-fetched. Sonar, especially at high power, can have unpredictable effects on marine life and may produce sounds that carry for miles. Despite the speculation, there is no public evidence that AUTEC is involved in anything beyond what the Navy describes: testing and evaluating underwater technology. Still, the combination of secrecy, advanced research, and the facility's location in one of the world's most mysterious regions has made it a magnet for theories. Some people believe that the Navy is studying not just technology, but also the natural forces that make the Bermuda Triangle so unpredictable. If the region's magnetic anomalies and shifting currents can disrupt navigation, it makes sense that the military would want to understand and possibly harness these forces. The recurring presence of the Navy in the Triangle also shapes how disappearances are perceived. When the military responds quickly to incidents in the area, skeptics see it as standard protocol. Others, however, interpret this as evidence that the Navy is monitoring the region more closely than it admits. The immediate deployment of search and rescue teams, especially when military assets are involved, raises questions about what the Navy knows or suspects about the Triangle's hazards. Some theorists go further, suggesting that AUTEC's research could inadvertently cause the very phenomena it seeks to understand. If experimental sonar or electromagnetic systems are powerful enough, they might interfere with civilian navigation or communication. In a region already prone to compass malfunctions and sudden weather changes, even a small disruption could have serious consequences. While there is no proof that AUTEC's activities have led to any disappearances, the possibility remains part of the ongoing debate. The Navy's official stance is that AUTEC exists to make submarines and underwater vehicles safer and more effective. The facility's work is focused on improving national security and advancing technology. Yet the secrecy surrounding its operations, combined with the Triangle's history of unexplained events, ensures that speculation continues. Theories about secret projects, strange sounds, and possible connections to the Triangle's mysteries persist, fueled by the lack of clear answers. Whether AUTEC's deep-sea sonar or something else is at work, the Triangle's blend of natural oddity and military secrecies deepens its mystery. The questions raised by the facility's presence about what is tested, what is known, and what remains hidden add another dimension to the region's legend. As speculation about military projects swirls, some turn their attention to even more unusual possibilities. The idea that the Bermuda Triangle might attract forces or visitors from beyond our world has become a central part of its mythology, raising new questions about what really happens in these waters. UFOs and interdimensional gateways. Stories about UFOs and interdimensional gateways have become some of the most persistent theories surrounding the Bermuda Triangle. These ideas suggest that the region is not only a zone of strange weather and magnetic anomalies, but also a possible point of contact with forces or realities beyond our own. While these claims often stand at the edge of scientific possibility, they continue to attract attention because of the unusual events and eyewitness reports that surface from time to time. One of the most frequently cited connections between the Bermuda Triangle and UFOs comes from civilian reports of unidentified objects in the sky. In 2014, 2 passengers aboard a Carnival cruise ship witnessed a UFO overhead in broad daylight. The object moved in ways that did not match any known aircraft or natural phenomenon, and it vanished as quickly as it appeared. While skeptics point out the challenges in verifying such sightings, reports like these are not isolated. Over the decades, people traveling through the triangle have described bright lights hovering above the water, objects darting across the horizon, and glowing shapes plunging beneath the waves. These accounts, though rarely supported by photographic or radar evidence, often share similar details, which keeps the conversation alive. Theories about UFOs in the Bermuda Triangle sometimes expand to include unidentified submerged objects, or USOs. Witnesses describe metallic or glowing shapes moving rapidly beneath the surface, sometimes transitioning from water to air with no apparent difficulty. The idea that the triangle could be a hotspot for underwater alien activity has led to speculation about hidden bases or advanced technology operating out of sight, deep below the ocean. These stories are fueled by the region's history of unexplained disappearances and by the sense that something unusual might be happening beneath the waves. Some researchers and theorists suggest that the triangle's reputation for strange lights, sudden disappearances, and instrument failures could be linked to advanced technology, whether extraterrestrial or otherwise. The possibility that UFOs use energy sources or propulsion systems beyond human understanding is often mentioned. Witnesses sometimes report interference with radios, compasses spinning uncontrollably, and sudden loss of navigation, phenomena that seem to go beyond what natural weather or magnetic fields alone might cause. The idea of interdimensional gateways takes these theories a step further. Some pilots and sailors have described experiences that feel like traveling through time tunnels or sudden shifts in their perception of time and space. The story of Bruce Gernon in 1970 is often cited as an example. Gernon was flying his small plane from the Bahamas to Florida when he entered a strange, swirling fog. His instruments malfunctioned, and he felt a sensation of weightlessness. When he emerged from the cloud, he discovered that he had covered the distance to Miami much faster than should have been possible. About 40 minutes had vanished from his trip. Gernon's account has become central to discussions about temporal distortions in the triangle and raises the question, could these tunnels be doorways to other dimensions? While the notion of portals or gateways is rooted in science fiction, it finds some support in the recurring reports of time loss, spatial disorientation, and sudden disappearances. Pilots have described flying through corridors of cloud or fog, where instruments fail and radio contact is lost. When they emerge, they sometimes find themselves off course, ahead of schedule, or with missing time. These experiences are difficult to explain with conventional science, and they add to the sense that the triangle may be a place where the boundaries of reality are thinner or more flexible than elsewhere. Despite the intrigue, concrete evidence for UFOs or interdimensional gateways in the Bermuda Triangle remains elusive. Most sightings are based on eyewitness accounts, which are difficult to verify after the fact. There are few, if any, reliable radar records or physical traces left behind. The lack of hard proof keeps these theories in the realm of speculation, but it also contributes to the region's enduring mystery. People are drawn to the idea that the triangle could be a point of contact with something beyond our current understanding, whether that means visitors from other worlds or windows into other realities. Theories about extraterrestrial abduction occasionally surface in connection with the triangle's most dramatic disappearances. Some suggest that ships and planes are not simply lost to storms or mechanical failure, but are intentionally taken, collected for study or other unknown purposes. These ideas are often inspired by the complete lack of wreckage and the sudden, untraceable nature of many incidents. While there is no direct evidence to support claims of abduction, the pattern of disappearances and the absence of physical clues keep these possibilities open in the minds of some researchers and enthusiasts. There are also stories that connect the Bermuda Triangle to broader themes in UFO lore, such as the concept of secret underwater bases. Some theorists point to the region near the Bahamas as a possible site for an underwater Area 51, where advanced technology or alien craft might be hidden from view. These ideas are fueled by sonar anomalies, unexplained sounds, and occasional reports of strange activity beneath the surface. Again, the evidence is mostly anecdotal, but the persistence of these stories suggests that the triangle occupies a special place in the imagination of those interested in the unknown. The scientific community remains cautious about these claims. Most researchers argue that natural explanations, such as magnetic anomalies, unpredictable weather, and human error, account for the majority of incidents in the triangle. However, the lack of definitive answers for some of the region's most famous cases leaves room for alternative theories. The possibility that the triangle could be a site of advanced technology, whether human or otherwise, is not entirely dismissed, though it is generally considered unlikely without stronger evidence. The enduring appeal of UFO and interdimensional gateway theories lies in their ability to explain the unexplainable. When ships and planes vanish without a trace, when time seems to bend or disappear, and when witnesses describe lights and objects that defy conventional explanation, these ideas offer a framework for understanding events that resist simple answers. The combination of mystery, science fiction, and the unknown has made the Bermuda Triangle a focal point for speculation about what might lie beyond the limits of our current knowledge. Even as technology advances and our understanding of the natural world grows, the Bermuda Triangle continues to generate reports of strange phenomena. Theories about UFOs and gateways to other dimensions remain unproven, but they are not easily dismissed. The stories persist, fueled by new sightings and by the region's long history of unexplained events. The lack of concrete proof keeps these ideas in the realm of unresolved possibility, a reminder that some mysteries are not so easily solved. As questions about the triangle's connection to other worlds linger, another line of inquiry emerges. What if the secrets of this region are not only about what comes from above or beyond, but also about what might be hidden below, waiting to be discovered beneath the waves? Ancient technology beneath the waves. The idea that the Bermuda Triangle could be influenced by ancient technology beneath the waves has fascinated explorers, authors, and theorists for decades. At the center of this speculation is the enduring legend of Atlantis, a civilization said to have achieved remarkable technological advancements before vanishing beneath the ocean. Plato's ancient writings describe Atlantis as a powerful society lost to a catastrophic event, but it was in the 1970s that Charles Berlitz brought this legend directly into the conversation about the Bermuda Triangle. Berlitz popularized the idea that Atlantis might not only have existed within the triangle's boundaries, but that its technology could still be active, quietly shaping the region's most puzzling disappearances. According to this theory, the vanishings of ships and planes in the Bermuda Triangle are not random. Instead, they might be linked to remnants of Atlantean technology, energy grids, navigation devices, or even defensive systems that have survived for thousands of years beneath the sea. The suggestion is that these ancient mechanisms, still operating in some form, could disrupt modern instruments, create magnetic anomalies, or even generate forces capable of pulling vessels off course. For those who find this idea compelling, the evidence lies not only in mysterious disappearances, but in the strange underwater formations discovered throughout the region. One of the most discussed examples is the Bimini Road, a formation of large rectangular stones lying in shallow water off the coast of Bimini in the Bahamas. Some see the Bimini Road as the remains of Atlantean infrastructure, a pathway, wall, or foundation built by a lost civilization. Geologists, however, call it natural tessellated pavement, the result of erosion and geological processes that can create regular patterns in certain types of rock. The disagreement keeps the legend alive, with each side pointing to gaps in the evidence to support their view. For those drawn to the Atlantis theory, the Bimini Road is a tantalizing clue, suggesting that other remnants may be waiting to be found beneath the waves. The debate extends to other underwater features in the region. Sonar scans and deep-sea explorations have revealed unusual shapes and patterns on the ocean floor, though most lack the clear structure needed to confirm a human origin. Some theorists believe that the real evidence of Atlantis lies buried under layers of sediment, hidden from view by the passage of centuries. They argue that our current technology may not be advanced enough to detect what's truly there. If Atlantis's energy grid still hums beneath the waves, its power could explain compass failures, but it remains hidden behind miles of sediment and secrecy. Supporters of the ancient technology theory often point to the recurring reports of compass malfunctions, sudden shifts in navigation, and unexplained electrical disturbances in the triangle. They suggest that these could be the result of energy fields or electromagnetic emissions from devices left behind by an advanced civilization. If Atlantean technology was designed to manipulate magnetic forces, even partially functioning remnants could interfere with modern navigation, causing ships and planes to lose their bearings. The idea is that what was once a source of power and protection for Atlantis now operates without purpose, creating hazards for anyone passing overhead. Despite its appeal, the theory faces significant skepticism. The scientific community generally attributes underwater formations, like the Bimini Road, to natural geological processes. Erosion, shifting tectonic plates, and volcanic activity can create shapes that seem artificial, but are, in fact, natural. Without concrete evidence, such as artifacts, tools, or clear signs of construction, most researchers remain unconvinced that Atlantis or any other advanced civilization lies beneath the Bermuda Triangle. The lack of definitive proof, however, does little to dampen the enthusiasm of those searching for answers. The mystery itself keeps the debate alive, inviting new generations to explore the ocean floor in search of hidden truths. The enduring fascination with Atlantis and ancient technology is not just about lost cities or mysterious powers. It taps into a deeper curiosity about human history and the possibility that much of our past remains undiscovered. The ocean covers vast areas of the planet, and much of the seafloor remains unexplored. It is possible that evidence of ancient civilizations lies buried beneath silt and rock, waiting for the right tools and technology to uncover it. For now, the question remains open. Are the disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle the result of natural forces, or could they be linked to something far older and more mysterious? Some theorists expand the scope of the mystery beyond Atlantis. They suggest that other lost societies may have existed in the Atlantic, predating recorded history and leaving behind traces now mistaken for natural formations. These cultures, they argue, could have developed technologies or knowledge that influenced the region long after their disappearance. The idea that humanity's distant past might still shape events in the present adds another layer to the triangle's allure, blending archaeology, legend, and unexplained phenomena into a single, compelling narrative. The search for answers continues, with researchers using advanced sonar, remotely operated vehicles, and underwater mapping to explore the region's depths. Each new discovery, whether a curious rock formation or an unexplained anomaly, adds fuel to the debate. While most findings are eventually explained by natural science, the possibility of uncovering something extraordinary persists. The ocean is vast and its secrets are well guarded. Until more definitive evidence is found, the question of ancient technology beneath the Bermuda Triangle remains a matter of speculation and imagination. The enduring debate over what lies beneath the Bermuda Triangle speaks to a broader human desire to understand the unknown, whether driven by scientific inquiry or the allure of legend. The search for answers continues to inspire exploration and discussion. The possibility of ancient technology shaping the present is both unsettling and exciting, offering a glimpse into a world where the boundaries between history and myth are not always clear. As each new expedition returns with data and images, the mystery deepens rather than resolves. The ocean's depths hold many secrets, and the Bermuda Triangle remains one of the most intriguing places to search for them. For now, the theory of ancient technology beneath the waves stands as one of many possible explanations for the region's enduring mysteries. It reminds us that the line between what we know and what we imagine is often thin, especially in places where the past may still cast shadows on the present. The search for Atlantis and for answers to the Triangle's puzzles continues. With every new clue, the hope remains that one day, technology or chance will reveal something that changes our understanding of both the ocean and our own history. Until then, the Bermuda Triangle holds its secrets close, inviting us to wonder what might still be hidden beneath the surface. Questions about the true nature of the Bermuda Triangle remain, and the debate over ancient technology is just one part of a much larger story. The mysteries of this region invite speculation, research, and reflection. As we consider the possibilities, we're left with a lingering sense of curiosity about what we know, what we hope to discover, and what may always remain just out of reach. The truth about the Bermuda Triangle. As we look for answers, the truth about the Bermuda Triangle comes into clearer focus, not as a single explanation, but as a place where questions outnumber solutions. The triangle's reputation as a zone of vanishing ships and aircraft is built on decades of stories, theories, and speculation. But what do we really know? And what does the evidence actually show? The phrase Bermuda Triangle first appeared in 1964 when Vincent Gaddis used it in an Argosy magazine article. Gaddis pointed to the area between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico as a hotbed of disappearances, suggesting something unusual was at work. This idea quickly took hold, transforming a section of the Atlantic into a cultural phenomenon. The triangle's legend grew as people looked for meaning in the unexplained losses of ships like the USS Cyclops and flights like the infamous Flight 19. These stories and the mystery surrounding them became the foundation for a narrative that has lasted for generations. When examining the core of the Bermuda Triangle's mystery, three main pillars emerge: the forces of nature, human error, and the unexplained. Each of these plays a role in shaping the stories and the speculation that surround the triangle. Nature's power is undeniable in this part of the world. The triangle sits in a region known for volatile weather. Hurricanes, sudden storms, and rogue waves are common, and the Gulf Stream's swift currents can scatter debris far from where an accident occurs. These natural hazards have caused countless tragedies at sea and in the air. Some disappearances, like ships lost during hurricane season or aircraft caught in unexpected storms, can be traced back to these environmental dangers. Even so, not every incident fits neatly into this category. There are cases where weather was calm and skies were clear, yet vessels vanished all the same. Human error is another factor. The Bermuda Triangle is one of the busiest maritime and aviation corridors in the world. Navigation mistakes, miscommunication, and mechanical failures have all played a part in the incidents that made the region famous. The story of Flight 19, for example, includes elements of navigational confusion and instrument failure. In high-stress situations, even experienced crews can make critical mistakes. The ocean is vast, and a single error can lead to disaster, especially before modern tracking and communication systems became standard. For every well-known disappearance, there are likely many more close calls that ended without incident or with only minor mishaps. Then there is the unexplained. Despite advances in technology and decades of investigation, some disappearances in the triangle remain puzzling. Ships and planes have vanished without leaving any trace. No wreckage, no distress signals, and no survivors. The USS Cyclops, lost in 1918 with over 300 people aboard, is one of the most enduring examples. The Navy's official investigation offered possible causes, but nothing conclusive. The lack of physical evidence creates space for theories that go beyond the ordinary, inviting speculation about magnetic anomalies, ancient technology, or even forces we have yet to understand. The enduring appeal of the Bermuda Triangle lies in the way these three pillars overlap and leave room for doubt. Nature can explain many tragedies, but not all. Human error accounts for some cases, but not the ones where no evidence is found. The unexplained fills the gaps, keeping the mystery alive. Yet, when we step back and look at the data, a different picture emerges. Studies by insurance groups, including Lloyd's of London and the US Coast Guard, show that the rate of disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle is not higher than in other heavily travelled parts of the ocean. In fact, the incident rate matches global averages. Ships and planes go missing all over the world, and the Atlantic, especially the stretch between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, is no more dangerous than similar routes elsewhere. This fact undercuts the idea that the triangle is uniquely deadly. It suggests that the region's reputation is shaped more by storytelling than by an unusual concentration of accidents. Still, the triangle's legend persists. The combination of high-profile disappearances, dramatic rescue attempts, and the unknown has given the area a mystique that statistics alone can't erase. News stories, books, and documentaries have amplified the sense of danger, often focusing on unsolved cases and mysterious details. The stories are compelling: a squadron of planes vanishing in formation, a massive ship disappearing without a trace, and strange lights seen by sailors and pilots. These accounts have become part of our cultural fabric, feeding the idea that the Bermuda Triangle is a place where the normal rules do not apply. The power of narrative is strong. When an incident happens in the triangle, it is more likely to be remembered, discussed, and investigated than a similar event in another part of the world. The name itself, Bermuda Triangle, invites speculation and wonder. Each new story adds to the legend, making it harder to separate fact from fiction. Myths about ancient cities, alien visitors, and underwater energy grids flourish because the real explanations are often unsatisfying or incomplete. The lack of closure in many cases only deepens the intrigue. Even as technology advances, the triangle remains a symbol of the unknown. Satellite tracking, GPS, and improved communication have made navigation safer, but they have not erased the sense of mystery. The ocean is still vast, and even now, some disappearances go unsolved. The triangle continues to challenge our desire for clear answers. For every theory that is tested, another question arises. Why do some ships and planes vanish without a trace? Are there forces at work that we do not yet understand, or is it simply the randomness of nature and the limits of human ability? The truth is that the Bermuda Triangle is both less and more than its legend suggests. It is not a supernatural vortex or a uniquely cursed place. Instead, it is a region where natural hazards, human mistakes, and the unexplained combine to create a story that is larger than the sum of its parts. The real danger lies not in the sea itself, but in the way we interpret and remember what happens there. As you consider the evidence and the stories, ask yourself, which theory resonates most with you? Is it the force of nature, the possibility of ancient remnants, or the idea that some mysteries remain beyond our grasp? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. The Bermuda Triangle's legacy is not just about what has happened in its waters, but about the questions it inspires. It stands as a reminder that there are still places in our world where the answers are not always clear, and where curiosity drives us to keep searching. The mystery endures, not because it cannot be solved, but because it invites us to look closer, to question, and to wonder. From here, it's worth remembering that the Bermuda Triangle is more than just a mysterious patch of water. Its story reflects our endless curiosity and the reality that not all questions have answers. Throughout this journey, we've revisited the stories of the USS Cyclops, Flight 19, and Bruce Gernon's strange encounter. Cases that have shaped the Bermuda Triangle's reputation as a place where the ordinary rules sometimes fail. Each story adds a layer to the mystery, showing how the unexplained endures even as science and technology advance. If you've enjoyed exploring these mysteries, please like and subscribe. I'd love to hear your own theories or experiences. Share them in the comments below. The triangle reminds us that some truths may forever lie beneath the waves, waiting for the next curious soul to chase them.